Whoa, what up, No Win Mafia, No Windy Sleeves family. Welcome back to another episode of the No Windy Sleeves podcast. Your host, Coach Tut, here with Anthony DiPippa. Tonight we're going to be going over a bunch of stuff for you guys. We got some important stuff. We got some hardware over here. I don't know what that is. Oh shit!
Getting old.
Can't get up. It's funny. We see the trophies here. We see you here, or what?
Oh, who put those there?
He likes to break them out every once in a while.
I'll put that right there.
I don't have one yet, but no. So what we're gonna do, what we want to talk to you guys tonight about is obviously a special guest here, Paul DiPippa, my father-in-law. 1994, Mr. Pennsylvania for bodybuilding, all natural. Mm-hmm. So went through all the federations for drug testing, the polygraphs, everything. Won some titles, won a bunch of trophies. There's a bunch upstairs. We couldn't carry him down. We're a little tired. So sometimes, he just likes to bring them out for us to see. But thanks for hopping on.
A special room for him, all,
Yeah, that was the baby's room, but now all the shelves are up for all the trophies. Really just kind of want to shoot the shit tonight. Give you guys some insight into kind of how training used to be, how we apply it, what we do. Super casual. We got some Corona lights tonight.
Hold the virus.
Hold the virus. So hopefully there's a lot of people. You guys are having some drinks tonight. Join us. We're live. Rip the Ronas tonight. But I kind of want to get right into it. With training. How'd you kind of get into everything?
Well, I was like 21. It was right when college was ending, and I met a guy named Johnny Venditti, and we were playing baseball, and he was really into bodybuilding, and he said, you should start coming to train with us. And I did, and I mean, the workouts were so different than what you would do for, a sport. I mean, everything was high intensity. My muscles never burned like that before.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just intense, and the diet, like back then, we would just, like when you were bulking up, it was eat a loaf of bread, a pack of tasty cakes.
I remember you always used to tell that to Aunt. Yeah. When he'd be like, I can't gain weight. You're like, well, I used to eat a loaf of bread and margarine and a whole meal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we would do. That was like 1991 that I met him. And I went in my first show in 1992. It's when Ashley was born in January 92. I went in October of 92. And it was 6 months of training. And the diet is what really, 70% of it was diet, really. Taught me so much discipline. Like, I love to cook now, and it's all because of bodybuilding. Because, you had to be disciplined to cook your own food.
Yeah.
And you couldn't just go, what are we having tonight? Spaghetti and meatballs? It just wasn't like that. Like, you had to, it was very disciplined, And back then it was egg whites. My go-to breakfast was egg whites, grits.
Carbs in you.
Yeah, egg whites, grits, and a banana. And I actually even pour my coffee in it. So, that's what I would eat for breakfast, every day.
Did you feel all those egg whites, in your skin, your nails, with the biotin blockers in there and everything? So much.
No idea what that was.
It was, I mean...
So, what did you weigh before you started, when you started body? What did you weigh when you started?
I was about 185 pounds. That's, normally what I that's how I went all through college, really. I never went above 200.
And you competed at, 195?
The highest, my last show that I went into, my goal, the top of the light heavyweight division was 196. And my goal was to get to 196 and be under 4% body fat. So that was what I wanted.
4%.
Yeah. And I competed, that show I competed at 192 at 3.7%.
Too close.
And I did as scientific and as disciplined as you can possibly be. And I knew, like, if I could have kept going in it, probably by 96, because that was 95. 96, I would have been at 196.
Is that the first place trophy?
No, this is not a first place trophy. And so the reason I brought this down was this is a second place trophy. And this is, I knew this may be my last bodybuilding show.
What show was it?
It was the 1995 New York State. And it was a big show. There was a lot of competitors, and I took bodybuilding. I wanted to be. My goal was to be a professional bodybuilder. Like, that was it. I was not doing anything else with my life but being a professional bodybuilder. And so I took it like really serious. I mean, it was my life. You can ask Big Gina up there because she, after this show, she said to me, "You got to quit this shit," and that was about it. But the guy that won the show, his gym sponsored the show, and they gave me the best poser trophy. And normally, when you win best poser, you win the show.
So that one
anyway,
sits high on the shelf for you every day.
That one really sticks with me still. I still to this day say I want to go on another show just to like.
I think you can do a show soon. Well, you could do a show. Walk us through like what a day was like. So like eating, your eating schedule and then your training schedule with it. What did a normal day in a full-time bodybuilder look like?
Do a day like off season.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what was like a
off season?
Like 3 weeks out.
Off season was like a dream. So like here's what we would do. Like, let's say, all right, you gotta, like, we'd pick our show minimum 6 months out. So like if I was gonna go on a show in October, you back up 6 months from there, and that's when you start your, like what you're doing. So our off season would be, and I have all the workouts still in this book. I kept it. I can't believe I found this, but everything is in here. It was literally 3 days a week, 1 set to failure, a lot of pre-fatigue like leg extension, leg curl, and then a 20 rep squat. That was your first, and there was no rest. There was no do a set and then look at your phone. It was do a set of leg extension, do a set of leg curl, go right to the squat machine or squat bar and do your 20 rep squat. So doing a 20 rep squat after doing those 2 isolation exercises, that was pretty intense. But that's how we did it. It was a total body, 3 days a week. But diet wise, it was seafood diet.
The best kind.
There was no, like, it was a definite dirty bulk.
What did you get up to?
The highest I got to was 226, and that was when I started, when I was getting ready for that New York State. But yeah, that was, I would eat like a pound of pasta. It was crazy how much we would eat in the off season.
What was the supplements like then?
There was the Joe Weider weight gainers.
Yeah.
Those things would rip your guts apart. Like, we're talking like 100 grams of sugar, like 100 grams of carbs. Just
literal straight mass.
Like, you'd fill the blender up, and the whole thing was filled with this like thick, milky white. But that was the off season, and like, you would push the workouts were pushed to exhaustion. Like, there was no. It's totally different from powerlifting. Just put it that way, where you're going maximum effort for 1 or 2 reps or so. But this was like you're using a lot more different muscle fibers,
when you really have to like mind muscle connection. Like you really got to think about the muscles you're trying to work
Yeah.
to contract those muscles.
Yeah, and one of the other things that we would do in the off season, we'd do a super slow workout. So it was a 5 second, still one set, total body, but it was a 10-second negative, 5-second positive.
Oh.
So it was a lot more
I
time.
thought going
under
up for the
tension.
5 seconds was harder than going down.
Oh, I mean, when you get to your 10 at the bottom, and then you still got to go 5 seconds up, and you got to go to failure. It's really like it was more mentally draining to prepare for that workout.
Yeah.
And the weights were probably super light.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably
you would try
like
to
40%. Theoretically, 40% of like a 1 rep max.
Yeah, like you would everything was to failure too.
That shows that tempo training like that can have such a good impact that people at home during this that don't have weights
Right.
do a couple sets of that shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I mean, time under tension is king. That's if you want to get bigger, time under tension is great. If you want to get stronger, time under tension is great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everything.
It's great. With strength though, it's a lot of times it doesn't work for a long time because when you work, if you're aiming for strength and you're working sub maximally too much, then your CNS isn't going to be firing for those heavy weights. You know what I mean, that's why you got to touch heavy weights. If you want to get stronger, you can't.
If you want to get stronger, yeah. And
Right, but like you said, it was totally different.
Did you give a shit about how strong you were? Or was there some way to kind of judge where your size was?
My goal every work, like with this 1 set to failure workout, total body, my goal was to add 5 pounds every workout. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you would have to be, you'd be up 15 pounds on that Friday because you'd be adding 5 pounds on.
How long were
every
those
workout.
phases? Did you do that for what, a month?
See, I do that. Yeah, I do that for a month, and then I tweak the exercises around or I do it the super slow for a month. And then like we move on to like a sculpting phase where this would be like 4 months out from a show, and that was 4 days a week. So now you're going up a day, and the reps are higher, and you're adding another set. So we do 2 sets of 12, still 30 seconds rest, but you're doing upper body twice, lower body twice.
Did you do like a lot of rest pause sets or drop sets?
We weren't really in a lot of drop sets.
No.
It was just more of
it's just another
a
way to
lot
get-
more negative.
Yeah.
A lot more holding the negative, get the time under tension.
Yeah.
But that was really like that second phase. I enjoyed that the most because you can really you do more exercise. You start to see the cuts, the definition coming out, and at the same time you're cutting back on the loaves of bread and.
It's probably a sad day when you gotta start cutting that back, honestly.
Yeah, the worst was bread. I missed bread the most.
And you guys are Italian, very strong Italian.
Yeah.
So those Sunday dinners, I mean, how was that for you? So as you're getting into, I know you were getting there, the right before the contest or the real contest prep, the stuff that sucks. What was that like having to go to your mother's house and say, did you save all your carbs for that night, or like?
She never understood. She would always just sit there and grill me, because we'd all go down and she'd be like, I don't understand. Why can't you eat? It's just one meal. Why can't you eat, pasta? Here, I made garlic bread. I know it's your favorite.
Who, Danny?
Oh yeah, yeah. But a lot of times what I would do is I'd bring a can of tuna, and I'd eat the can of tuna and then have some pasta with it, but not portion
Right, yeah.
down. But so we would start our contest prep like hardcore 3 months out from a show, and I would go 6 months without any beer, pizza, nothing. Sometimes, like especially for this show, because I really wanted that. I went from like I don't know May to October.
All the
No
weddings,
beer.
all the baby shower, nothing.
Nothing.
Wow, crazy.
But that's the thing. It taught me a lot of discipline, and it carried through for.
Move that trophy over. No, the other one.
Move it over this way.
Not
This way.
Yeah.
Oh, you want
in
to?
front of your face.
What so when you get into those 3 months, what's it like? Do you double your training sessions? Do you add more cardio? Do you cut out? I mean, what's the food?
So the workouts were absolutely brutal. It was 6 days a week, and everything was supersets and trisets. So and it was all pre-fatigued too. So, like for example, chest was you would go, you did a set of pec deck or flies, and then right to incline or flat bench, and that was 3 sets back and forth, no rest. So you do your superset, go right back into the superset. So those workouts were, and that was 6 days a week of all that.
I'm just picturing that feeling right now. Like how bad that would suck.
And at the same time, you're there's no sugar, there's no, you're eating, like I would go, Metrics was big at that time, the meal replacement packets. So I would do like 2 to 3 of those a day, Metrics packets. And then I'd eat 3 meals a day, which normally consisted of chicken breast and green beans.
Brown rice? No rice.
There was brown rice involved too, but
oh, how times have changed for you.
that was normally 1 meal, and that was after the workout. Yeah.
What and then for your training wise, was it? Did you bump your cardio? Did you start wearing the sweatsuits? Did you?
So what we would do, first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, half hour of cardio. So I would get up and run, half hour. I started wearing a fat belt then too. There was fat burners at the time. That if anybody ever heard of Ripped Fuel from Twin Lab, it was kind of like that, but they don't make them and they banned them. It was awesome. They really worked.
They ban all the good shit.
Yeah.
So it was a combination of aspirin, ephedrine, and caffeine. So like it would suppress your appetite.
Yeah.
At the same time, it just shredded you.
Make you sweat.
It was awesome.
Thermogenic.
It was awesome. So so we would go half hour cardio, empty stomach, then eat your meal, and then I'd go for a walk at lunch, another half hour walk. Then I'd go after work. I'd go do my superset training, get right on the bike, because the bike would really get your thighs ripped. So now I just sit there and pedal on the bike for 45 minutes to an hour, and I'd read Muscle and Fitness and Men's Health and whatever I can read. And then I'd go home and frickin' prepare my meals for the next day. It was just non-stop from the time I got up till.
So what was it like like for powerlifting? There's like a peaking phase, and you know what I mean. You're kind of tapering off and to hit a big number on a certain day. What was it like the week of a show? Like what was your diet?
Here's how I did it. The week before the show, like if the show was on a Saturday, I'd start the Saturday before, and I would carb deplete, and I'd sodium deplete, and potassium load, sodium deplete. Yeah. Okay, so then.
So what did that consist of? What do you mean? Like, so you would eat what kind of carbs?
So there was hardly any carbs during that first 5 days before the show. So it was mostly, your protein and a little bit of vegetables, and that was it. And your workouts were to exhaustion. So the whole point was to get all just get all the glycogen out of your muscle, because when you did introduce the carbs back in, so then the last 3 days before the show was carb load, and you would increase your the sodium was out totally, and then you'd increase the potassium more, and the whole point was to draw the water and the glycogen in to create that channel to really just. And we drink diluted.
Really fill you out.
Really fill you out, and then we drink diluted water. Or what is the water? The distilled. What am I saying? Diluted. We drink distilled water too, because we didn't want any other minerals messing with the potassium channel. And then we would, the day before the show, we would actually monitor how much we urinated, and then we'd take a percentage of how much we would put back in.
That's crazy.
Because the last thing you'd want to do is show up to a show, like you said, peaking, and you missed your peak.
Yeah, you're trying to look the best for a certain time.
Yeah, I remember seeing some kind of on that there was actually athletes backstage eating like Oreos to get that, to be able to pump everything back.
Yeah, you said you used to eat some Skittles, right, for the simple sugars in it or something?
My go-to was Skittles and red wine.
Just draw it all back.
Oh my God, and then like that morning, I'd pop 2 niacin tablets. And if you've never taken niacin, like alone, it's all it is a B vitamin, but if you've never taken it alone, you feel like you're like on fire.
Oh,
your
that's
skin
nice.
starts to get all warm, your blood vessels come out.
What's it like right after then? So you do all that, right? So you're trying to peak, essentially.
The weekend after or something, they'll be in the gym and they'll be like, this is the best time. Or powerlifters, if they miss their peak, and you know they don't perform like they should on meet day, that week after they're hitting all their PRs that they should hit on meet days because they didn't either peak correctly or maybe they got in their head at the meet and they're chilled at the gym. But
I'll tell you what, because like, you know, when it's not normal to be under 4% body fat.
no.
They say people shouldn't walk around at under 10% unless it's part of your natural like genetic build.
Yeah.
Like it's unhealthy to force yourself under that. I couldn't imagine walking around at 4%.
I mean, you literally felt sick. I mean, you felt like you had like
Ethiopian marathon.
Yeah, how could you? Did you have energy to do anything?
No, it was, and now trust me, I'm sure things have changed. That you know, you're not. Maybe I don't know. Bodybuilders walk around at 4% for a month before the show, but that's what we would do. Like it was a straight cut, like you're cutting for a wrestling match. But I would take 2 weeks off after the show from the gym. But you know, when you're starting to eat again, like your body starts to fill up again, and you start to have energy. That first week of workouts, you're back after the 2 weeks. I would be like, oh my.
I'm going to powerlifting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to say that on one of the things that you were talking about bulking wise, the dirty bulk. Do you think for people that are just starting off or you know when they're younger have a hard time gaining weight, but they don't want to get fat or lose their abs, do you think that's a good way if you have the information on how to cut it off for people to put on weight, just, you know, commit to? I know like Julian Smith, who we watch, he says you know, he committed for like 5 years to bulking first before he got shredded.
Yeah, and I mean, he talked about how his bulking, he just worried about being in a calorie surplus.
Yeah.
You know, and I know he's big in like counting macros.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's what he's talked about, letting your body like fully fill out, like not just do it for a winter, like let it go for like a year or 2 years and just let yourself fill out. Like you're lagging in your shoulders. Well, then take 2 years and really build your shoulders. Like don't just make it a 4-month process in the winter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Really let yourself grow before you pull it all away.
I feel like that's huge, to stay in that calorie surplus for a long period of time when you're trying to grow and get big, especially when you're, you know, in your 20s.
Your shit's just burning so fast. I remember even when I first started coming around you guys were always going back and forth at it about that. Because at first for a while, you were a little bigger kid, a little rounder. You didn't want to get back there.
That's it. It brings it back from bad memories.
You won't say your nickname from here. But he was always like, well, just eat more. Don't worry about what you look like this summer. You know, push through for a year. You know, I think, but some people have that challenge. But some people don't have the information to take it off the right way.
Right.
So they get nervous that they'll put it on and they're going to be stuck there.
Well, yeah, especially if they were heavy and lost it, and then you're telling them you got to eat more.
Well, there's a guy named J.M. Blakely. I listened to a podcast with him, and he was known for competing in like the 308 class at powerlifting to a 180 or 198 pound class in a year, in a single year. And he would always talk about, when I was telling you, he was talking to Dave Tate about his bulking workout. He would eat, you know, 3 McDonald's sausages, McMuffins in the morning, and you put mayo on them and stuff. It was all about calories per bite, but he would eat like chocolate bars throughout the day, every hour, to keep his blood sugar high. But he said, he's like, I never worried about gaining the weight because I knew I had the discipline to take it back off.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down
That's
to.
what it
Is,
comes to,
it's
yep.
the discipline. Like, all right, I'm going to put this weight on, but if in the back of your head you're like, man, I like gaining this weight, I don't know if I can pull it back off, then you should probably start thinking of ways where you can, like, sit at a certain weight where you're not overweight, but you're not, like,
That happened to me
10%.
last winter when I made the. I mean, I got fat as shit. I got strong as shit. I'm stronger now, but I had tested that till last winter.
Yeah.
Building the foundation, I got up to like almost 250 last winter.
Yeah.
My fat, I walked around at 250 when I was like 20 or 18, and it was awful. And people would be like, "Dude, you're getting soft again." I'm like, I'm trying to, because I know once April 1st hits, I can switch it and be back down to 205.
Yeah, if you have the
in
discipline to
3
pull it back
months.
off, then just know in the back of your head that you can gain that weight and you can pull it back off.
Well, and that's what bodybuilding taught me, was that discipline. I mean, and that carried over to a lot of other aspects of my life, not just, bodybuilding. And like to this day, that's why I'm not in the fitness industry anymore like I was, but, that's why I still prepare our meals.
Yeah.
Everything's from the garden.
Exactly right.
One of the shitty parts about this is if you were your age when you started in 91, if it was today, and you followed your path, you could probably, because of the way the industry progressed, be a millionaire because of it.
Yeah.
Because back then there was no social media, there was no phones to carry around and take pictures, there was no, it's whatever you read in your magazine.
Yeah.
And if you won these, you probably got a picture somewhere. Now everybody's posting pictures, you can share your knowledge. You couldn't share your knowledge back then, but if you were doing that nowadays, you could be a millionaire. And that's the
well, and the thing is,
part
like,
about
I
it.
was doing a lot of nutrition programs for people, and like you should have saw the software program for that.
Yeah, that was
Typewriter.
I mean, it was brutal. Like,
But you said that you were a personal trainer. So yeah, we kind of do follow in your footsteps what you were doing. But then once the bodybuilding came and Ashley came, you started to do something a little bit different. But that was your first passion, was training people and competing?
oh well, I was certified strength and conditioning specialist.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's go, me too.
and I got all the way to my master's thesis in exercise science, and other opportunities came about. I never finished it, but that was absolutely, like, I was training. That's what I did full time. I was training in nutrition counseling. It just wasn't easy to make money then, like, and I was judging bodybuilding shows, and I was doing talks to businesses, and they would have like talks for bodybuilders, and I was doing all that, but it got to a point where it was like, do I want to keep doing this? Like, I agree with you. If it was now, it'd be a whole different story.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you see people use it. It's a passion for people, but they use it as their main source of employment, and for like a secondary or passive one. Ant's starting to get into it. He's training a bunch of people now, getting certified. He has a full-time job, so he fits it in those hours. But that type of opportunity really didn't present itself back then because they just didn't have the resources.
Yeah, right.
But you took it, and I see it as like the bigger scope of everything. So, Big Gina, she competed to train as well, right?
Yes, she did. She was training to go in a show, and then she got pregnant with Ashley. And then she, a couple of years later, she was training for another show, and she got pregnant with Anthony.
Were you competing? Were you training, prepping for the same time? Were you in prep as well?
No, actually, I believe the ones that she was going to go in were in the spring, so I was helping her.
The test levels must have been flowing.
Yeah.
Whenever she was competing. I don't know if you were working out with her, but.
Exactly.
But what I was kind of getting at with that is that, and we always talk about it, like training using training as a tool for so many things. Training clearly was a bond that you and Gina had, and it's something that you now share very deeply with Anthony.
Yep.
And we all share. I think it's one of the main reasons probably that we're all so close. But building those relationships through it, and like, what has it done for you and Anthony, and watching him grow up from being, well, you know, what he was when he was 12 to, was it an exciting time for you? How has it developed into your guys' relationship?
Well, yeah, and I mean, you know, like when he was in high school and stuff, it was just like, I'd try.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't. My mind wasn't. I remember going to the gym and I was like, I don't want to freaking be here. This sucks. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, and it was kind of like right after high school when you really started to.
It was. I remember it was when it was like a couple of days after I graduated from high school.
When I first started coming, you saw me walking.
No.
That's what it
That
was.
was after that, but no. When Will lived here, and we were like best friends, and he was like bigger than me, and like shredded and stuff, and I was like, man, I was like, I need to get there. So I remember going to the gym. I went to fuel, and I benched, and I was so sore for like 3 days. I didn't go back for like 2 weeks, and then something just clicked, and I didn't really get too serious with it until I met a kid in college named Jackson. Remember Jackson?
Oh
This
yeah,
kid
there you
was
go.
like a freaking man-child. He was 240, deadlifted over 650 in college, and I mean, literally would get down to gym and eat a Snickers. Like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I need some protein. Like, he's just natural
I
freak.
hate that.
And so when Anthony started getting into lifting, like with Jackson and stuff, and he was into it, and then he started asking more questions, and then we had more stuff to talk about. And then it got fun, because then, you know,
Yeah, so now it's fun.
then we're talking about new diets and nutrition and.
Competing a little bit. Maybe did it bring you back into it? Did you
Well,
take
then
some
I was
time where
like,
you were
well,
just?
shit, I better start.
Yeah, you can't
I
let him.
pulled,
Right?
I pulled 500 first, and he was like, shit.
I know.
That's one thing that for me and him we talk about all the time. Like, so we're super close, but obviously training makes us closer.
Yeah.
We have like an internal. No, I don't even want to say a competition, because it's not like, oh, I don't want him to get stronger and pass me. It's, you know, I want him to pass me in a lift, and then I want to pass him. Like,
Right.
we flip flop like every year.
I was
usually.
this year's been your year.
Yeah, last year was yours.
Yeah.
Next year will be mine again, and you know we'll continue to go. But
Yeah.
it like breeds that internal kind of, you know, little competition, but endless shit to talk about.
It does, and like I would love to be able to say that one of these years is going to be my year, but
You had your year right here.
those years are over. But I am going to. I will not stop trying to get there.
Yeah. I mean, now that you're getting older, you just got to be more smart about it.
That's right.
You know, you can't, like you said earlier, you can't do those sets to failure.
Oh.
Because recovery, you don't do shit in the gym if you don't recover from it.
Yep, that's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, now you just got to be smart about it. I mean, shit, we both read up enough about it that I think we pretty much have it down pat.
Did you change a lot? Maybe in the last 3 years that you did, you know, compared to the 3 years before. Has there been a lot, you know, of involvement in changing your training as you've gotten older? I mean, you're still pulling 500 plus in the 50-year-old plus club, which is still pretty damn good.
Well, and the thing is, I went a lot of years, and I was not lifting heavy, or I would maybe a month out of the year. Like after bodybuilding, I was doing CrossFit for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, remember when Ant did CrossFit? Remember when Ant did CrossFit?
That hurt my back.
Yeah, I had
I did it for a
tendonitis in
month.
both arms.
I know when we started Jug for the first time, like 3-4 years ago. What was that? Probably 3 years ago now. 4 years ago. We
Whoa.
started Jug.
Yeah.
That's because you were hesitant to try it at first, and you did it, and that was the first year. Remember you and Craig were having that battle of 500?
Yeah.
And when you finally pulled it, then it was like, all right, well, now I can buy into this stuff. You still haven't done my program yet.
Well, yeah, you said you were always into bodybuilding, but ever since I've been around, it's been numbers. But that was since he was lifting, so it was probably him that kind of got you into.
He's the
chasing
one that
numbers
got
a
me
little bit.
back into lifting heavy again, and I don't like people shouldn't be afraid to like lift heavy if you're doing it right. And I mean, I don't know, but I feel better now than I have 10 years ago.
How upset were you when I almost just quit lifting before the wedding and just fucking?
I was like,
Just
Somebody take his temperature.
Ant said he wasn't going to officially let me into the family until I started looking like I lifted again.
Yeah, you were pretty much a cross-country runner.
Yeah, 196, pounding fucking 5 to 7 miles a day. Hands never go above the waist. You gotta keep your energy efficiency.
Yeah. So I guess one last thing I wanted to get into before we get done here. You said that you wanted to be bodybuilding. You wanted to be your like job. That's what you wanted to pursue. So, and you're a natural bodybuilder. If someone came up to you with an opportunity and said, all right, you can do this, but we need to start adding some maybe drugs and get you to that level to where maybe IFBB, something like that. Is that something you would have done, or are your morals too high for that?
I was anti. I knew it was out there, but I was so like literally, I wanted to prove that I can do it without that.
Yeah.
Like that was my mindset. It was like, because I competed in shows against guys that were doing it, and like guys that they didn't get caught that show, but they did the next time. They went into another natural show and got caught. Yeah. But the point is, like, my mindset was like, screw that. I'll show you that I can do it without that.
Right.
You know, but
I mean,
bottom line is to be the big time IFBB pro, you can't be natural.
Yeah. When you would look at magazines and see guys like was Jay Cutler big? Who was big back then? Like Lee Haney.
Lee Haney, Dorian Yates.
Dorian Yates. You see guys like that, and you obviously know, and like I'm nothing. Those guys worked hard as shit, whether they were on or not. It doesn't matter. But did you see those guys and was like, if I want to compete with those guys, then that's the road I would need to take.
Oh, well, when that reality that was like when that really sunk in. Like, geez, if I want to be like that, then I got to do that. And there's people dying. Yeah. Literally, their hearts are exploding because they're taking so many steroids and diuretics. And it was like, all right, well, I can still do this, and even if I'm not competing, I can still be in health, fitness, and whatever.
Because now it's like, back then I'm sure people who made it in the fitness industry were obviously like big time bodybuilders that were using drugs, which, like I said, not taking anything away from them. But like nowadays, like you were saying, there's so many more fitness influencers and all that stuff that you don't really need to have that look. You know what I mean? Like, look at like one of my favorite guys to follow is Dr. John Rusin.
Yeah.
And everything is backed by like science, everything like that. And he is like, I take a lot of stuff that he says and implement it. And he doesn't have that look. He's not 250 shredded. You know what I mean? So like now it's easier to be in this industry and not have that for the free.
Well, I think everything's more about
100% right.
Yeah, everything's about being relatable now too. I think some people get turned off by the guy trying to coach you that is 4%, because they know that they're not going to do what you did to get 4%, so their program might not be for them. If they want to look better but not look like that crazy dude. Yeah. I think so much of that with like the drugs too is it's the same thing with the industry. Everything's evolved. They're almost more acceptable now from an amateur level than they were back then. There's more information out on them. There's more of them. More easily acceptable. I
mean, now there's so many more shows too. Like back then, it was just bodybuilding. Now there's physique, there's classic physique, there's classic.
There's a lot more avenues for people. To, still get competitive. And
do you still have a passion to, passively on the side? I know you're helping us out with No Windy Sleeves because you're the walking billboard for people still being able to be in shape, commit yourself. Live a normal life. Like, we're having some beers tonight, you have pizza, but do you still have a passion to maybe get into it and get more involved in it?
Yeah, I mean, lately, especially during the lockdown here, it's just like I've been thinking a lot about, like, I've got I can help some people, and it's knowledge that I have that I never got out of, like, even though I've been in the fundraising industry for 17 years now, and I went all into that. I still like maintained my knowledge with everything that in the fitness industry too.
I always tell people, I say the same exact thing to Anthony. I'm gonna say, and I just learned it probably last year. You both have so much knowledge, and Anthony used to be, not now. I mean, when he talks about fitness, he's amazing with it. You can be a little introverted with it. Yeah. Him not sharing the amount of shit that he knows is, I say it, it's not a dig, it's selfish. Because he has so much information that could help so many people.
Yeah.
That it's just wrong to not share it with them. Not trying to monetize and make a bunch of money, but he can help a lot of people, and it's about putting it out there to see. You got 15 of those books up there with nutrition and training and advice that could help people. I think it is so important to share that information. And now that there's a platform for it, there used to not be.
I know.
Especially the #1 platform, No Windy Sleeves, is
I gotta get in.
Great spot for it.
I'm kind of still old school with the social media. I'm trying to embrace it more as we go along here. But I would love to. I'm really the nutrition side of things is really my biggest passion. Yeah. Like,
can we hit on that real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we end off, I mean, I call you guys the Vert Prince and the Vert King. All right, so the Vert King over here.
He's the one that got me into the vert.
Yeah. What the hell is vertical? Being vertical. Like, what the hell is it?
You want this or me to take it?
Go ahead.
The vertical diet is based around gut health. Okay. Yeah. Maximizing gut health. But what it comes from is picking foods that are nutrient dense and easy to digest. So every food in that diet, you go with the steak. All right, the steak has heme iron. It's got creatine in it. I stopped taking creatine when I started eating vertical because I'm like, well, I'm just wasting money now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's got the healthy fats, all that stuff. When you get into the white rice, it has, it's easy to digest, less gas buildup. And then, those are your 2 macros. Those are your main drivers of calories right there. Okay, then you get into the bone broth, collagen, digestion, cranberry juice with the iodine, stimulates your thyroid, speeds up your metabolism, spinach with the potassium, and I actually wanted to talk about the hydration. I can go all fucking day. Hydration is, I see B-Tup posted about how he's drinking like 2 gallons of water. I know you're big on 2 gallons of water a day, but one thing with hydration is, and Stan talks about in the vertical diet, is too much water without enough sodium, potassium, and electrolytes is going to dehydrate you even more because it's going to dilute those minerals. So you need to make sure.
So you're saying we should have more salt?
No, I think your salt intake is good. I think what you need to work on though is getting more potassium in. I do think that from spinach. I mean, I know you started putting sweet potatoes in more now.
Yeah, I hate. I'm a child. I fucking hate vegetables. I hate spinach.
If you put it in with your mash though, you don't even really taste it.
Yeah.
But like that's what the vertical diet is. It's picking foods that are nutrient dense, picking foods that don't have all these different chemicals and preservatives in it.
Well, and Stan says you need to pick foods that like you, not foods that you like.
Right.
Because if we ate foods that we liked,
you'd be freaking bloated all day. You'd have gas.
Well, we kind of talk about that. You were making a video on it actually. Everything you eat pretty much has a purpose, right? So if you're gonna snack or if you need to eat something, it's not, wow, what's gonna taste good? What's convenient? I need more protein. I've heard you say I need more carbs, dude. Yeah. I'm eating this bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios because I'm about to go pull heavy.
Right.
So everything you eat should have a purpose. You're not eating to eat. You're eating to fucking, I'm blanking out on the word, to fuel. You're eating to fuel your body for what you're trying to do.
Well, and the thing is, like, I'm 51 now, and the last 2 years that I've been vertical, my gut health has been the best it's ever been, ever. And I don't even want to try to go back to eating more grains and higher fiber foods where, the brown rice,
Higher arsenic.
People don't realize how bad too much fiber is for you.
It's not good for you, and we can get in. That's another podcast. I can totally go off on it.
What about your thoughts on sodium then, on the salt?
It's a game changer.
It's
It
a
is an
friggin'
absolute
enhancer.
game changer.
It is a enhancer.
What about people that tell you to back off on the sodium, on the salt?
I'll put more on.
I would tell. I mean, he says in the Vertical Diet book, he says when you start salting your meals to taste, that first week you might get a little bit of water retention because your body's like, oh shit, why is they taking all the sodium?
Awesome, he's giving me some salt. Yeah.
Right, and then in the weeks after that is when you're gonna start to use it, and that's when it goes back to hydration. Like, I'm eating this because I want to be hydrated, and like you know what I mean. It all ties full circle.
What about your blood pressure?
I mean, I'll go get a blood pressure test
Here.
right now.
Yeah.
But the reason that I went the vertical diet route is because Stan implemented the vertical diet when he won his IFBB Pro card. Flex Wheeler did it 10 years before him, and Lee Haney did it 10 years before him. So it's not like it's something new. This has been around for 20, 30 years. He just kind of put it out for everybody to see, and what he does is every statement he makes, he links an article from a credible doctor to back that up. It's not just some bro saying, oh yeah, you should friggin' eat this deer antler velvet because it's going to raise your testosterone. You know what I mean? It's science-based studies, and it's not bullshit. There's no fluff.
I get lost on his website with the amount of information.
It's crazy. I mean, there's like 50 links in the volume 1, and then volume 2, and then volume 3. There's like 100 more.
Are there ways to twist vertical for someone that wants to cut, wants to bulk?
Oh, 100%.
You're in bulk.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing would be is to just kind of time your carbohydrates or limit them. So if you're trying to cut, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to limit your carbs until around your workout. Like you said, eating with a purpose. You're going to want to eat your carbs around your workout because it's going to help you through that workout. Carbohydrates, another reason that you should be eating carbs because it's going to hydrate you.
So
I'm a big carb.
It's going to transport all those minerals. The carbs are going to transport the salt, the potassium, the electrolytes, all that stuff.
glucose.
Like I said, it ties full circle, everything.
One of the things he references this Dr. James D. Antonio.
The salt fix.
He wrote a book called The Salt Fix,
Yep.
and if you get the vertical diet, you can read it in the ebook, and he references that. So it's not like he just is making it up. Like, these are doctors that wrote books on proper hydration, and it's.
Well, I saw it firsthand with the salt when I was training at Nova in training camp. The players, I would have to walk around with a bottle of salt water. You call it Gator Light. It was just a pack of sodium we put in water.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of this shit when I got there. I was like, dude, I was always said, well, salt water is going to dehydrate you. I'm like, wait, why are we giving them salt water? Well, to retain their water that they have and then drive everything else. Because that's how you're going to minimize cramps by having the salt water.
Yeah.
You know, like, but people don't get that because they get a lot of fixed on stuff in the past. Dude, 10 years ago, if you told people to eat red meat with a shit ton of salt, they're going to tell you you're going to die of a heart attack in 2
My
years.
God.
And there's been
Lock you
dozens of studies came out now that fat that in red meat is not going to raise your
And-
cholesterol.
and
It's
the
actually
ver-
good for you.
Grass fed.
If it's right. If it's
Yeah.
if it it's not that hamburger 70-30 bullshit.
Ashley tries to trick me. She buys that shit and cooks it, and I threw it out once. I was like, this meat's old.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
Yeah.
But people, so with the verticals, you're promoting gut health. You're promoting overall, immune system and just health for your body. But you also it's going to make you look good.
Right.
So why the hell wouldn't you?
I mean, listen, I've been 13-14% body fat eating vertical, and I've been 6 to 7. You know what I mean? And eating the same foods, it's just limiting one thing or timing another thing. It's not hard. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, to some people it might be intimidating, but once you get down to it, I mean, you're gonna be like, oh, shit, this tastes good.
It's the best tasting
You know
thing
what I
ever.
mean?
This is the strongest I've ever been with being the leanest I've
you've
ever
really
been in my entire
benefited
life.
from
Yeah,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's
game
not,
changing.
and I'm not saying that you need to eat this way to look a certain way or be strong. Like, there's people who still eat like you used to bodybuild, but the thing is the other health benefits that you're getting from it.
And it's
Absolutely.
pretty easy. Like, it's kind of mindless. So we say the way he used to eat. The average person can't do that. The average person can make a big thing of mash and have it till Wednesday and
Yeah.
carry it on the
Absolutely.
go. You know, like.
Yeah.
It's the easiest. Really, it's the easiest diet.
And
to
I
follow,
tell
if you
my
think about it.
clients that do it. So they're like, "Well, how much carbs do you have?" I'm like, you know, if you overeat your white rice or if you overeat your beef, if you have a pound instead of half a pound, don't worry about it. Anything that's on that list, you can really overeat in
Carrots.
reason. You know,
Yeah.
you can overeat it. It's fine. It's when
Yeah.
you start venturing down the black hole at the back of the cabinet.
Yeah.
You know, that cereal. You know, like
Cereal.
it's when you do
The
that.
HNCs.
The HNCs will get you.
Peanut butter.
But I think
Peanut
there's so
butter's
much
my-
stuff that it's my freaking. If I cut just peanut butter out and HNCs, I'd be freaking 7%. I can't.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
gotta,
fucking
I
bad.
gotta like not buy peanut butter anymore.
Every time he comes down, we go through like 2 boxes of cereal and like 12 pounds of beef. Speaking of that, how much beef did you just get? How much beef is sitting? How much red meat is sitting in your freezer right now?
So I just bought a half a cow, grass fed. Took a picture of the cows out in the field. 435 pounds of ground beef, Delmonico's, porterhouses, T-bones, frickin' stew, soup bones, whatever you want.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of just been talking about beef. Like, you know, red meat can, what is it? What animals does he say? It could be venison, bison.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a
elk,
big bison
lamb.
guy.
Yeah.
What does he call those animals?
What is it that gets the nutrients in there? The chickens, they can't. They
Chickens
don't-
aren't alive long enough
That's
to be
what it is.
nutrient dense. Plus, like cows have
stomachs.
5 stomachs, so like, and they're eating grass, and they're really getting the most out of the grass that they're eating. So, and they live longer, so they're they're more nutrient dense.
That also pushes the argument of you don't need the meat. It's the grass that gets you strong, right?
Yeah, but we don't have
Cook the
5
grass.
stomachs
That's true.
to extract all the nutrients out. But
Never seen a big chicken.
You've
No.
never seen a big chicken.
exactly. Now, here's the thing: if you'll eat pasture raised chicken, they have more of a chance of getting, nutrients in them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because they're raised on pasture and
Yeah, and I mean,
grass and
if you want to try the vertical diet and beef isn't your thing, you like say you have some kind of moral code that you don't eat red meat. Chicken's fine. You're just not
Salmon.
getting salmon is
wild
another
caught
big one.
has to be line
One
caught
good thing that
salmon.
he does too is he takes out, like he said, he's like, I don't drink protein shakes unless I absolutely have to, because he's getting all
don't-
of his
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, he
like
doesn't
he
drink
did that
a lot
one
of
video. He had a protein shaker. He's like, got my shake, and
Yeah,
he
he
pulled out
pulled out
fucking
steaks.
sirloin.
Yeah, 'cause
I
I
only
mean,
take
yeah.
protein shakes for convenience after a lift if I can't go home and eat food.
Right, and I mean,
Yeah,
it's protein is a supplement, so it should
Supplement.
supplement your diet. If you can't get, if you're taking all these different vitamins that you aren't getting from food, then you should probably look at your diet and be like, well, what can I get from food that can help those deficiencies? Nikki is deficient in magnesium. I'm like, you need to eat more red meat because red meat is
very high.
rich in
Yeah,
magnesium.
rich.
I think the biggest part for me to speak on that is so
Iron.
I
I'm
did
sorry, iron.
I did a genetics
Heme iron,
test.
not magnesium.
I did a genetics test, and it showed me that I metabolize carbs a lot faster than I metabolize fats.
Mhm.
I used to be the big, I'm gonna have some healthy fats, eat avocado, big, just
Yeah.
to try to get some fats in. The vertical helped me a lot because I completely switched it,
Yep.
and the only fats I really get are from the meat.
Yep.
And then I uploaded, and I'm in a huge increase in my carbs.
Mhm.
But my body metabolizes them way faster. So
Yeah.
like I'm not scared of eating a huge bowl of white rice anymore. Obviously easily digestive carbs so I don't have that bloat. But understanding how your body works, and like you guys said, what works for your body.
Yeah.
For me it's carbs. A lot of people are like that, I bet. My body didn't change
Yeah.
for a while because I didn't fucking touch a carb. You start to fucking
Yeah.
get them in, and
Yeah.
you're fueled, you're full,
Yeah. And
it's just
well,
it's carbs like sweet potatoes, white rice, vegetables. What do they call those? Simple carbs.
complex.
Complex carbs, right? But when you're getting, and that same doctor who wrote the Salt Fix says, sodium and high fat food like red meat is only it's only like dangerous in the presence of refined carbs
Refined
and
carbs. Yep.
like vegetable oils. So if you knock vegetable oils and refined carbs out, then that's
Well, it's all about the combination of a bunch of shit. Because you say that sodium's really bad for you, or salt is bad when it's around processed sugars
Yeah.
and shit like that, because that's what's driving it.
Well,
so like if you're linking it up.
So what happens is those refined carbohydrates and the vegetable oils, what they do is they irritate the lining of your gut and cause leaky gut, which you have stuff that's supposed to be in your gut getting in your bloodstream.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the presence of salt, cholesterol, the cholesterol is there to try to help your arteries and veins, and the refined carbs and the bad stuff, the free radicals that's causing inflammation, is damaging your arteries. So then that's why people think that cholesterol is bad.
Yeah.
Because it's there trying to repair.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. It's clogging because it's getting stuck with all the other shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a good point, and it's like simplifying it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you made the fucking most basic thing you could ever say to me was when I think it was when I was finished my bulk last year. I was like, dude, should I do this? How many carbs should I have here? You were just like, dude, you know what's healthy. You know what's not. Just eat what's healthy for you. Just fucking simplify it.
Yeah.
And I say, for the most part, anything that comes in a wrapper, shit.
Yeah.
If you can't pronounce the ingredients, shit.
If your food isn't the ingredient,
shit.
You know what I mean? Like it's vertical diet is almost like a kind of like a paleo kind of thing, because paleo is like a spin-off of like what cavemen used to do, shit like that. But basically, it's just stuff that comes from the earth. It's not stuff that is comes from like human. Like it's not altered by humans.
No, and the thing is, like it's ultra high quality too, like free range eggs.
Yeah.
Real sourdough bread.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm making my own sourdough bread.
Oh, shit's about to get real. But no, I thank you guys for. I think we have so much shit that we can get into now. This is a good base. We're gonna pick one topic to move forward from here on out. But thank you guys for tuning in. The Vert King, 1994, Mr. Pennsylvania.